Thanks, Brian. Good morning, guys. How you guys doing today? Good to see y'all. Good to be back with you. I just want to say it was the first time I've ever been worshiping Jesus and saw like a picture of myself on screen. So I don't know if any of you, most of you were probably real spiritual and had your eyes closed, so you didn't even see that. But I was kind of like just vibing with God, and all of a sudden there's like a picture of me and my wife. I was like, whoa, wait, no, don't strike me, God. That's not how I roll. I want to speak to you from Philippians today. So if you have a Bible, I want to invite you to open it up to chapter 4 of Philippians. We're going to get there in just a minute. I want to give you a quick update for those of you that have been awesome. A lot of you guys have been real supportive and encouraging on social media. My wife and I, we are not even like weeks out. We are days out. Our first baby girl, she'll be here in like 11 days. We're thrilled. Can't wait. She's going to be here. So, but this is what... some of you have never seen Brenda, or you don't even know that prayer works. And so I want to prove to you that prayer works. You could be a 7 out of 10 on the look scale and still get a 10. But your prayer life's got to be a 10. I'm going to tell you right now, man. God, he had mercy on me. He knew my heart, right? My heart loved him a lot. So this is me. This is Brenda. Some of you guys have never met Brenda before. I think, is that not going to happen? Those don't look like they want it. There's Brenda. Wow, that's a real extreme close-up. So that's my wife, and then this is what we look like a little bit more now because she's pregnant with our daughter. You can go to the next one. And that's Brenda and our little girl. We haven't announced the name yet. We'll be doing that like when she shows up. But I would like to ask if it's possible, if the ladies in the house would help me out with something. Ladies, if you help me out, say yeah. Come on, y'all, say yeah. Okay, I did not grow up with sisters, okay? So like I did not grow up around girls, and I am a first-time father. And so I don't know how to be the best dad that I want to be. And so what I would really appreciate is I want my daughter to grow up with the best dad in the world. I want to be like the most incredible father to her. I want her to learn her identity. I want her to know that if, God loves her and daddy loves her, she don't need no scrub to love her. She will be just fine by herself until, she's 50 and I'm dead, and then she could get married. But no, I mean, for real, I want her to experience what it feels like to have a dad that like knows how to be the best dad ever. And here's the reality is I don't know how to do that. I've never done that. I've never been a dad before. And so I would really appreciate it. I'm going to teach today, and I know I'm on the teaching team, and I love coming here, and that's a part of what I'm in this community to do, but I'm also a student, and today I want to be a student of the students in the room that you'd be willing to help me. If you are and it doesn't matter if you have like a cool one or not, I would love it if you would go on my Instagram account, find a picture that like has me and Brenda in there, and if you would just post on there things that your dad did, or that you really learned from him or you appreciated from him, that as a young lady when you were growing up, like it just made you who you were. It helped you learn who you were. Or maybe you didn't have a dad, but you're like, man, this really would have been very helpful for me, or I have really had to overcome this, and here's what I could say would be awesome for your daughter to experience from me, because I want to learn from you ladies in the room, because you're a daughter, and my daughter's going to be a daughter. She's going to need me to be something that I don't know how to be, but you do. And so I would really appreciate it. You can go, that's my Instagram account, Chris Harrell. You can go on Snapchat and just have fun. We just laugh on Snapchat. That's all that's for. But if you will go on Instagram and just find a picture and just say, hey, here's something my dad did. These are things I remember, and it really marked you as a young lady. And that will help me be able to put some of those things into practice. I'll try to comment back to every one of you and say what's up to all of you who choose to do that. And it will really be just a huge help for me and my little girl. And so I'd love that. I want to pray and ask God to help us today, because I think that we're in a season going into the holidays that are, it's going to be important that some of the things that we experience in the next couple months, we have God's help with. And so I want to ask God to just really minister to you today through his word and help me do it, because I think today's something that I'm going to say is really going to be needed by some of us in this room. And so would you join me as we just ask God to do just that? God, we need you to minister through your word, and we're dependent on you. I thank you for the faithful students that are here this morning. I thank you, God, for them always bringing their best and opening their heart and letting me share mine and the things you've shown me about you. And I pray today that you would do just that, God, that as we talk through this portion of Scripture and we work through just our lives, that you would work the Scripture into us and that we would realize a little bit more about you than we knew, and prepare us, God. The holidays are here, and that's good in so many ways, and that's challenging in other ways. And so I just pray, God, you would use me to minister to the ones that you sent me here today to speak to. Thank you for this community. Thank you for the blessing these students have been to my life, to Brenda's life, how they've rooted us on. And God, I just want to just say that you would minister directly to them like you are having a one-on-one conversation with them. Would you do that today? And God, I ask you to do that in Jesus' name. And everybody said, amen. Years ago, I went to a basketball game. I was at a conference, and I went to a basketball game with a bunch of my friends. And how many of you guys, I don't know if you guys love basketball or not, but how many of you guys remember a basketball player called Yao Ming? Raise your hand. Yao Ming. I just want to know, a lot of us kind of remember. For those of you who don't know, Yao Ming was a 7'5" Chinese basketball player. He played for the Houston Rockets. He was ginormous. And he was, really, really incredible, obviously being that tall. He had an advantage. And we were in Phoenix. We were watching the Suns. That was when Steve Nash played for the Suns back in the day. And we had seats, but they were way up in the nosebleeds. I don't know if you're like me, but when I get seats and I'm up in the nosebleeds, like one of the first things I do is I start scouting out better seats than the ones I have. Anyone else in the room do that right there? Like anyone else, it's like, yeah, that's going to be my seat right there when I'm done today. Okay, so some of you are obviously high class, and that's fine. That's the clientele in the room this morning. That's great. I'm glad you're all here. But I'm ghetto, okay? So like I did things different. So hey, way to go you. Way to always do it right, but not me. I was always the city kid who always was like trying to find a way to come up on stuff. And so I would get into the room and I'd start like trying to work it out. I had like a blueprint in my mind. And I remember I was with my buddies and I said, hey, I'm getting on the floor tonight. They're like, you're not getting on the floor, you're an idiot. And I said, no, I swear. Watch, see those seats down there? Those seats are for me. I'm made for that. They're like, you are not made for that. You see these nosebleed seats? These are the seats you're made for. You're not getting on the floor. I said, all right, bet right now that I end up on that floor tonight. They're like, if you end up on that floor, you're ended up in jail. And I'm like, no, I'm going to do this thing. So they're like, yeah, go ahead, Harrell, go ahead, try it. So I'm like, okay, here we go. And I start moving down. I saw seats over to my left, so I kind of like worked on down. And you got to kind of act like you belong if you're ever going to try to do this. So don't go get arrested because you try to do it and you don't know how to do it. You got to act like you're supposed to be there. So, you got to walk by the usher, not like usher, but like usher. Like you got to walk by the ushers and like be able to like just act like you don't even look at them. You act like you're like, yeah, my seats are down there, but you kind of have to tell your face to do that because they'll look at your face and be like, you don't belong down there. So I would walk by the ushers like, hey, what's up? My seats are down there. Whoa, Jesus. And so FYI, dude, do not come off the edge right there, dude. Home Depot, we're here to help. Okay, so we could, man, I almost cussed just now, just so y'all know. Then it would have got real, right? Could we edit that out in case I do, just in case it ever happens? Just kidding, I don't cuss. So I'm going down and I get down to these seats and I'm looking at them. I'm like, you better watch. I'm coming closer. And I get on further down and they're like, dude, no, you're not. And they're like up and they're like, you're not down there. And I was like, watch, I'm going to get on this. This is my night. I'm going to get on this floor. So I get on down and I'm like on the 6th row away from the floor. And there's like 3 seats there. And I'm like, okay, this is it. So I stand up and I walk on up and there's this guy and he's standing there. He don't look American, but he don't look like, he looks white, but he ain't American. I don't know how to say that nice, but that's what it was. So I rolled up on him and I said, hey, is it okay if I sit on those seats? I lied. I said, my seats are right there, which is where I was sitting. So technically it was my seat. But I said, I'm sitting right there. Is it okay if I have these seats? And he goes, I swear to you, he sounded just like this. He goes, do you have a ticket for the seat? And I was just all, and I'm such a smart aleck sometimes. And I was all, no, I do not. And he goes, then you cannot sit in the seat. And I said, and I thought I was going to get the seats. So when I walked up bold, looking at my boys like, yeah, what? Yeah, I told you right here, pictures of this moment. Here we go. And I get up there and they're watching like, oh, he's going to get on. And then all of a sudden he tells me no, man. And it was like a quiet moment during the timeout. But as soon as I turned around to walk back, there was 6 guys at the top just started screaming, ah! And I was just all demoted. I was like defeated because my seats weren't good enough for me. I was looking for, better seats and all the rest. So I sit down and I'm like, dang, man. And I'm looking at him like, man, I just got punked. Like everyone knows it. And then this guy got up. It was like the third quarter and he starts walking out. And I could tell he's one of those dudes that like goes to a lot of the games and has a lot of money. So he wasn't really worried. And it was kind of a blowout. So he didn't care. And as he was walking, he had a white collared shirt with a pocket right here. And I saw the picture of like, it was like Steve Nash. And if you ever knew this, but when you buy season tickets, they send you a whole booklet of tickets. And then there's pictures of each player like throughout the whole entire season. And I saw it. I'm like, dude, he's a season ticket holder. That's his ticket. So as he walked by, I was all, hey, sir, are you leaving for the night? And he goes, yeah. I said, just for a souvenir, would it be okay if I just had that ticket? Because it has a picture of Steve Nash on it. I'm a big fan. And he goes, yeah, sure, why not? Here you go. And he handed me that ticket. And man, I pulled that thing out and I'm like, I strolled on up to the dude and he goes, do you have a ticket for this seat? And I said, I have a ticket for this seat. And I showed it to him. He goes, you may sit in the seat. And I went, man, I sat down. Yao Ming came up, and I got like my camera out to take a picture of him. And then I thought it was going to be cool. And I was like, I told y'all. The dancers came up, man. I started like dancing with the girls. I'm like, yeah, this is my night. Yao Ming, I tried to take a selfie with Yao Ming, but it was like my face and his belly button because he's so tall. So, it was an incredible moment, but one of the things that it taught me about human behavior and human nature and a part of like how we all are is sometimes in life, it's like whatever we have is still just like not good enough for us, right? Like, have you ever noticed that no matter how good things can be going, it doesn't take but one bad thing to knock you off and all of a sudden your day is the worst day in the world? Right? Like we have this thing in our culture and you may or may not even know that you're in it. You may not know that you are like this, but I want to help you by being from an outside looking into your generation even specifically. This generation is a generation that has come to the place where we would all rather be almost anywhere else at times except where we are in life. We want to be someone else other than who we are. It's like finding a way to be okay with how unfamous we are, how less people are looking to us versus other people. For some of you might even look up to other people and be like, man, it would be so cool to one day have that many people like recognize me or listen to me or want to, hear from me. Or you might be like, man, I would like to do more than I'm doing now. And it's so easy for us to get overwhelmed and almost depressed that we're like not doing enough. And we don't even know who made the rules for what enough is, but somewhere, somehow, someone told us, I'm not doing enough right now for my life. Like somewhere, someone wrote a rule book that told me, you're not good enough. You're not doing what you should be. You should be doing more than what you're doing right now. And then we look at other people doing more and we almost get like sad, like low, and we don't even know we're depressed and we don't even know why we're depressed. We're like having a midlife crisis and we're like 21. I don't know, like it just seems like everyone else has figured out their life. Like everyone else is on a missions trip changing the world and I'm just at school. Or the person on the missions trip is looking at your Instagram feed. Man, I'm just out here like wasting my life. I mean, it's cool. I help these kids and stuff, but they're like back at school, like furthering their like life and they'll be able to get a real job. And I'm like going to be just in debt from this missions thing I'm on. And I don't even know what to do now. I just wish I had their life. And then you go to the other ones who are like, man, I'm at like a training or a ministry school or a leadership school. We run one of those at our church. And it's like, I'm here, but I should be out on a missions trip or I should be at school. It's like, we would rather be anywhere else except where God has us. We don't know how to be okay right where we're planted. And it's interesting, it's as if, especially for those of us in this room that we're Christians, and I don't have any like false idea that like every single person in this room has a close relationship and a growing, thriving desire to get closer to Jesus. I know that, okay? I went to a Christian university, I get it. There's some of us in this room, it's a great education. You got a great opportunity, it's closer, it's whatever. You went to church once upon a time, but it's kind of like not really your deal right now, and you're not really sure what to do about that, but it's like, hey, it's cool, these people are cool, it's better than what is out there, and I got an opportunity here. Maybe, you're studying a specific thing that the school does well here, maybe you got a scholarship, it doesn't matter, but the reality is I know in this room, not everybody in this room is in this room because they want to get closer to Jesus. Some of you are in this room because you want to graduate and you got to have chapel credit, and I get that, but let me speak to this. If you are in this room, and you do want to get closer to Jesus, and that is an important part, and you believe that that is life. Closeness to Jesus equals fulfillment in this world. His purpose, his direction, his function in your life is really where it's at. If that's the finish line for you in terms of everything, then we have to talk honestly about what do we do in the moments where I love Jesus and I'm all about it, but I'm unhappy. Listen, I'm unhappy with where he's planted me currently. Like he don't know all of a sudden how to be the gardener that the scripture says that he is. Jesus says, I'm the gardener. I'm going to prune you. I'm going to plant you. I'm going to water you. I'm going to give sun to you. It's like, I don't like that I'm single, God. You don't know what you're doing. I don't like that my parents are getting a divorce right now and I come from the Christian home. I don't like that this is happening right now in this class and it feels like this professor doesn't understand and I'm not, and this isn't right and I'm giving my best and now my GPA is. I don't like that I'm a senior and I'm not even sure what to do next. I'm going to graduate and I don't even know where I'm going to go. It's like you didn't do it right somehow. And then what we get on our social media feeds and we look at everyone's Instagram, we scroll and we scroll and we scroll and we scroll and we're looking for something to make us feel like we're okay right where we are. And this is a problem that as I travel and speak across the different areas God will give me, I start to find like everyone wants to be someone else besides who God's got them being right now. Everyone wants another, it's like, and we don't know we feel this way, but it's in there. And it's in there with the way that we're so like nervous and depressed and sad when it's just like, gosh. And here's the crazy thing is in God's word, there's a scripture verse that I think is so misunderstood. But it actually speaks to this if you understood it correctly. And I want to read it together with you because I think if you were to understand it, you might be able to walk away and go into the next season you have and not be so depressed that like you're where you're at because it's so bad and you need to really be on a mission trip changing the world, starting a nonprofit. Or you need to really be majoring that, or that person's like, I should really be in university, or I'm a leadership school student training for ministry, and this doesn't count because it's not real accredited. And it's like, no matter where we're planted, it's like God's messing it up. And is that the case? In Philippians chapter 4, Paul is writing to the church and he's talking to them about all these things. This is the most beloved letter of all of Paul's writings. Many theologians agree that this is the place Paul dumps his heart on the church. Like he is just like lavishes them. He breaks out into song. I mean, he's just like, I want you to know. I mean, there's like so much love in this thing. And in this place, he comes to this place where he's trying to help them overcome the challenge of feeling like things are not the way they ought to be. And he says something profound and I think prolific for those of us that at times can feel low and depressed that we're not where we, quote, should be, wherever that is. And you don't even know where that is, you just know you feel it. You don't even know where you should be, but wherever it is, it ain't right here. It ain't right now, it's not where you are. And you don't know who told you that. You don't know where you got that idea from. You don't even know who's running your world by making you feel like you should be somewhere else. You just feel that way, but you haven't unpacked it long enough. And this is a part of human behavior, and God's word speaks to it. Paul writes to it, and he says this. Now look, I'm not saying this because I'm in need, for I have learned to be content whatever the circumstances. Everybody say content. Come on, say it loud, content. Verse 12, very important. I know what it is to be in need, and I know what it is to have plenty. I've learned the secret of being content. Paul rarely talks about anything being a secret. Paul is writing to unveil the mystery of the gospel, the mystery that was given to the prophets, the mystery that was given to us in the Old Testament. Paul never wants to keep things covered, and he's always espousing here's the real secrets of life. And here, he doesn't use it to talk about the gospel. He doesn't use it to talk about the prophets. He doesn't use it to talk about the Old Testament, the scribes. And he's not talking about the scrolls that are read in the synagogues. He's literally talking about something that is a secret inside of the way God made the world and the way we have to interact with it. And here's what he says. There's a secret. You know what that means? The majority of you in this room don't know it. The majority of you listening to me read this don't have a grasp on this. It's a secret. A secret is something that most people don't know about, only a few do. And here he wants to make it well known to everyone. Hey, if you could get this, you'd be ahead of where most people are, because it's a secret that most people never find out about. I have learned the secret of being content in any and every situation, whether well-fed or hungry, whether living in plenty or in want. Here he says, there's a secret to being secure in who you are. There's a secret to being okay in the midst of pain. There's a secret to not feeling like you are not where you, quote, should be, and being able to identify that maybe where I should be is right where I am, and if I just learn to grow where I'm planted and actually deal with the fact that my God is the gardener and I'm okay right now, I can learn the secret of being content. Does that mean everything that happens to you you're gonna like? No. Does that mean everything that goes on is gonna be fair? No. It just means that somewhere in your faith, you come to the place where you say, I trust that when it's not fair and it don't feel good and it wasn't right and I don't even like it, that somehow, some way, you are still above and beyond in control of my life, dictating where I'm supposed to end up. That's what I trust, that's what I believe. I've learned the secret of being okay when it doesn't work out. I've learned the secret, and then comes the verse that we all know, or many of us who grew up in church know. You've heard this. People get this they write it on their shoes. They write it all over the place. People have tattoos of this. This is a famous scripture. And then Paul says this, I can do all this through him who gives me strength. Or another version would say, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. People quote this scripture and they like to discuss, hey, I can do the impossible. I can do great and mighty things. I can overcome all obstacles. Yes, that is a part of how I think we can take this, but I think it misses the point of what Paul was talking about. Paul is not saying, hey, you can go out there and overcome and take the world by the tail and grab it and stuff it in your pocket. No, what he's saying is, you can do all things. You can learn to be content. You can learn the secret. You can actually be okay with where you are, even though everything around in your world is telling you you should be somewhere better. You should be somewhere else. You should think more than you think. You should be better than you are. There's someone else doing it better than you, and you need to be nervous. You need to be worried. You need to be insecure. This is not the way it should have went. You should feel nervous about it. Oh my gosh, where's it all? And he's like, shh. No. You can do all things through Christ that strengthens you, not just I can go out and be strong. When he says this isn't just talking about how strong we are in Christ. It's talking about how content we can be in Christ. Meaning, I can be content. I can be content when my parents get divorced. I can be content when I don't like the way that my dating life has gone. When you get your heart broken, when you get a grade less than what you think you earned. You can be content when you don't get the job that you applied for. You don't get the scholarship you wanted. When you are content, you can find your identity in Christ and be secure in that, because you're able to say, wait a minute, I can do all things through Christ. Not just I can go do all things, but I could actually be okay with who I am in Christ. If I learn the secret of trusting that right where I'm at, he's in charge of and he's a part of, and he is not absent-minded and off, floating on some cloud playing a harp with like an angel shooting. Like he's like very actively right now, right here involved. What does that mean for us? Well, it means that you can actually be at peace inside your mind. And some of you need that. Why? Well, because Thanksgiving's coming up. Some of you haven't been home in a while, and you're gonna go home and you gotta deal with some stuff. And some of y'all go home and your families are great. And it's awesome, it's fun to be around. But others of you got to go home and you got to deal with difficult circumstances. Some of you, your mom is crazy. Some of you, it's your dad that's difficult, right? It's just like, it's a hardship. Some of you are like, you got to go back and everyone is catering to your brother or sister, and your brother or sister is totally just destroying their lives, but they know how to come in and make everything about them, and it's like the whole family goes to the lowest form of health, and it just sucks the life out of the room when brother or sister comes in, and you're about to go home and deal with that, and it's irritating. And it's frustrating. And it's like, we can never have a peaceful Thanksgiving because X, Y, and Z is about to go down. How can you go home? How can you go be around difficult things? How can you go share mom and share dad? How can you go deal with maybe a dad who's gonna be a little absent-minded and not be there and be really busy being at work, and you're like, I'm home from college, this is the time for us. How do you be okay in that? Well, he says, here's the secret. The secret is you gotta get content with the fact that right where you are, God is in charge of. That means that God is in charge of the pain you're experiencing, because the pain you're experiencing is bringing you to a place where you are learning something about him and you that you did not know. And had you not gone through that, you would not know it. And you trust that. And then you are okay inside. You become content in a way that's like, man, this is really difficult. This isn't fair. I feel like this is overwhelming even. And you could still feel like I could do all things. Can I go home and do all things? Yeah, but it's not just do all things. It's I could go home and be okay when all things are not working for me. I could be content when all things don't work, when all things are not awesome, when all things don't feel right, when all things don't add up, when all things aren't fair, when all things don't feel good. I can still be content when all things are actually feeling like they're working against me, when everyone else on my Instagram feed is doing what they're supposed to be doing with their life and have massive influence and massive opportunities, and you're just like, gosh, their life is so great. What the crap am I doing? I'm just like going to class today trying to like finish this paper. And you just feel like so small and insignificant. Paul says, no, that's you thinking that where you're at isn't where you're supposed to be. If we could get to the place where we actually believe that God has our lives in his hand, and that even the bad that is coming in, even the difficult, even the things that are not all good, even all things that feel impossible, that he is still in charge of it, then I can become content. And I could actually go through all things with him by my side. And that's where you get peace of mind. That's where you can go to sleep at night and not be overwhelmed and skits in your head and like worried and then having arguments and fights constantly. That's where you could be at peace in the midst of the chaos. Now, as I close today, I want to consider this. You can't do that if you don't appreciate the things that are around you. You can't be content if you can't identify things that you're missing out on. So here's what I want to do. Got a couple minutes left, but I want you, if you can, grab a phone, take out a phone and grab something you could write to yourself on. Maybe a notepad, maybe a text message that you can open up to yourself, and open it up. And I want you to write this word to yourself, like write this sentence to yourself right now. And this is going to be something that you'll be able to refer back to and look at and be able to say, okay, this is something I need to do, because here's what I know about you, because it's probably true about me and true about you. There are things happening in your life right now that you are missing out on, and you are not content with your present circumstances because you're ignoring a part of the things that are going right in your present circumstances. So if you're in the room and you're like, dude, I have really had a hard time being okay with right where I'm at, I want you to practice being content right now. Grab something and write this to yourself. If it was me, I would say, hey, Chris, I should be more thankful for, or I should appreciate more, or I think I should be more grateful for. And write out 2 or 3 things right now in the next 30 to 40 seconds that you're like, dude, this is not easy. This has been challenging, and yet there's 2 or 3 things right in the middle of this that are actually really working out for me right now. And I want you to do that right now. And I'm going to ask some of you to be able to respond, just popcorn across the room. And it might be one thing. It's like, dude, I am really grateful for this. I'm really grateful for that. But I want us to be able as a community to come to the place where we're able to see in the middle of what's not right, in the middle of the chaos, in the middle of all the reasons why you should feel like, I don't like where I'm at. I'd rather be anyone else and doing anything else other than what I'm doing. And yet to be able to put all that and say, wait, that's not where God wants me to be. I got the secret. And the secret is I can be content, but I can be content if I can identify what's going right now, right where I am, right here in this moment, present, right here, right now. So I just want to hear from you one at a time. As I just kind of like look across the room, I want you to say 2 or 3 things that maybe you didn't see that are like difficult and it's been hard, but God has revealed to you. It's like, you know what? I have seen it this way, and just say, I am thankful for this, and just say it out loud. And we'll just close, and after the end, I'll say a word of prayer. But I want to hear from you as a community. What are the things that you have just right now realized, dang, I should be way more content because this is going so well right now in my life? Ready, go. Just say it out loud. Thank you. Good. Someone else. You're engaged. Amen, sister. Way to go. Someone else. Education. Thank you. Someone else. Endurance. Well done. Someone else. Say it again. Your daughter to be. Me and you, my man. Me and you. Somebody else. Provision. Well done. Someone else, what else do you realize is actually there? In spite of how difficult it is, it's like, I don't like this about it, but you know what? It is this, and I could be content because it is this. What else? Opportunity. What'd you say back there, hon? It's a yes, isn't it not? It is. I don't know why I went C.S. Lewis on you, but anyways. Someone else. Say it again. Family, and then the other one? Perseverance. Yeah, someone else. Friendship. Thank you. Someone else. Say it again, hon. Financial, and then you, strength. I was definitely talking to the girl. I don't know why, but ever since I found out I'm having a daughter, I'm like all like dad to like every single walking girl in the world. I'm like, hey, daughter, come here. Are you okay? Here's a nickel. Go buy something. It's like a nickel, cheapskate. I can't do anything with this. That right there, listen. Vanguard, that is such an important exercise. And for those of you, let me speak and then I'll pray. If you are going home to a difficult thing, you might need to go, as I have, because my house got crazy when I was growing up. I had to literally learn to go in the backyard, to go, I'll go to the store and get some stuff. Why? So I could get away from y'all for a minute, okay? And some of you are gonna have to find ways to do what you just did and say, this is difficult. My stepmom, my stepdad, mom, dad, brother, sister, finance, how the rest of this semester is gonna go. I'm overwhelmed, whatever. But wait. You said there's a secret of being content. That means right now, I could find a way to be content in the middle of all things not working for me if I will find what is actually working for my good right now. If you can take that and put that into practice every time life sucks, you will never be like the rest of your generation, wishing you were anyone else and anywhere else except right where God has you, and you can actually get the secret for yourself of what it means to be content. Let me pray for you. Jesus, I ask that this would be a word that would go deep down into the soil of this community. God, there is a need for this to not just be something that would ramp us up, but God, that would deepen us into the richness of your word. And I pray that that would happen today. God, I ask that we would be able to, quote, do all things, but God, a part of those all things are doing it when all things are going against us and all things aren't right. And I pray that you would do that in their lives. I pray for everyone going home to a difficult circumstance. God, give them your grace, give them your love, and may they be a light of you, Jesus, in the difficult places they go. I love this community. I love these students. God bless them. In Jesus' name I pray, amen.
At Vanguard University, your story matters. Where will it take you next? For more information, please visit vanguard.edu.